What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Will is horrified to realize Luna is the mystery woman, and Ridge asks Brooke to marry him today. Brave and lovely, Elektra is ecstatic about Will, Thomas is furious that Brooke has triumphed once more, and Carter informs Daphne about Brooke's strength. Elise, when Will learns that Luna is still alive, he recoils in disbelief and snatches his brain. She gives him a sly smile. He jumps off. She is aware that it is absurd that she survived the shooting, but the thought of him was the only thing that kept her fighting for her life. She inquires as to whether he would be attracted to a ghost. Will is appalled. What could turn him on, Luna wonders. He looks as good as ever, she remarks. Man. He protests, threatening to call the police. She gives him a look at her ugly scar. They were all relieved to get rid of her, he claims. According to Luna, Lee sees the positive side of her and offered her another chance to heal from the trauma she experienced as a child. She is now prepared for the greatest phase of her life and will demonstrate her goodness to everyone. He shakes his head incredulously as she smiles. She tries to conceal the mask while he calls the police. When he sees her, he demands to know why he is wearing his sister's disguise. He recognizes her as the lady he had sex with when she raises it up to her face. Oh, no. God forbid. No. I'm disgusted, Will says. Elektra and Ivy in the design office are raving and laughing about how wonderful things are with Will. She is informed by Elektra that her evening with Will was more than she had anticipated. Both the event and the following morning were quite unique. Elektra recalls having sex with Will and reflects on how she wouldn't alter a thing about her first encounter. She shudders and declares her life perfect, saying it was almost perfect. Ivy believes she is deserving. Elektra thank God Luna is no longer with us. Not having to worry about a double murderer attempting to kidnap her lover is a relief. The fact that she didn't have sex with him on the night of the party makes Elektra very happy. Will is shocked and horrified when Thomas loses it over Taylor. According to the Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge Forrester made an ASAP marriage proposal, while Thomas Forrester lost it over his ex-girlfriend Taylor Hayes. Daphne Rose needed to talk to Carter Walton about a new scent at Forrester Creations, so she asked him about Ridge. Since Ridge was engaged to Taylor, Daphne was taken aback when Carter remarked that he was preoccupied with his complex love life. Daphne became aware that Ridge might be considering ending his engagement and getting back together with Brooke Logan when Carter made a suggestion about another woman who would always hold a special place in his heart. Fans of B&B are aware that Ridge just did precisely that. Ridge put a ring on Brooke's finger on Wednesday's program to formally announce their engagement. Carter realized he was disturbing Ridge and Brooke's private moment as soon as he entered the CEO's office. But since Carter didn't want to postpone getting married to Brooke, Ridge believed he should stay and support them. Brooke was ecstatic while Carter was taken by surprise, as Ridge wanted to marry her there and then in the workplace. Taylor blew out the candles for the romantic meal she and Ridge never had at one of the Forrester guest cottages. When Thomas arrived and realized that something was amiss, Taylor revealed that she was no longer engaged. Thomas hated Brooke for reaching him again because he was right to believe Ridge was the one who ended things. Taylor argued that Ridge made the choice on his own, even though Thomas became furious. Taylor tried her best to tell her son that she would be all right because all Thomas wanted was for her to be happy. Elektra Forrester raved to Ivy Forrester in the design office about her ideal passionate evening with Will Spencer. Even though it wasn't Will's first time, it was nevertheless unique because Elektra thought he hadn't dated anyone else since they first met. There was discussion over Elektra's ability to move behind Remy Price and Luna Nozawa and concentrate on her future with Will. Elektra also thought about how happy she was that she had not slept with Will immediately after the party because he would have been too inebriated to recall much anyhow. Will demanded to know how Luna was alive in Lee Finnegan's apartment. Luna clarified that Lee had saved her in the same way that she had previously saved John Finn Finnegan. Luna described her euphoric return from the edge of death and implied that she was sustained by the memory of Will. Will wasn't interested in Luna showing him her ugly scar, and he didn't believe her when she said she wanted to show him she was a better person now. Luna questioned how Will found her and implied that he was a really good detective. Will didn't yet see the link, thinking he had simply happened upon Luna while looking for the unidentified woman. She went to the dresser and put something behind her back after Will promised to call the police on Luna. Will insisted on seeing what Luna was holding because he thought it might be a pistol. It was the disguise Luna donned that night to fool Will into believing she was Elektra. Will was shocked and outraged when he finally realized that Luna had taken him to bed. Stay tuned for updates on all the bad news that's yet to come because, according to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Luna will continue to give Will a lot of turmoil. Will is shocked and appalled when Thomas loses it over Taylor, and the entire Bold and the Beautiful storyline becomes one of those memorable arcs where multiple storylines collide, emotions boil over, and every character's next move could be their downfall. It all starts when Ridge Forrester decides to pop the question in what must be one of the most impetuous proposals in recent memory, putting a ring on Brooke Logan's finger. This decision immediately upsets the delicate balance of the Forrester family because, despite Ridge's constant attraction to Brooke, the way he dumps Taylor Hayes leaves everyone in shock, and Thomas Forrester more than anyone else, who has been trying for months to convince himself that his parents will finally have the happy ending they all deserve. And when Daphne Rose enters Carter Walton's orbit to talk about a new fragrance project, their conversation veers into Ridge's private life. Carter's remark that Ridge is preoccupied with another woman sows the seeds that Ridge may not be as dedicated to Taylor as everyone believed, and Daphne, who is always observant, believes Brooke is the other woman. Which B&B fans are aware is the case because Ridge recently proposed to Brooke in the CEO's office, asking her to marry him today, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. Carter realizes he is breaking into their romantic bubble, but Ridge insists that Carter stay to witness the flurry of happiness, making Brooke beam with joy while Carter feels caught off guard because he thought Ridge was firmly tied to Taylor just moments earlier. Meanwhile, Taylor is across town blowing out the candles she lit for the romantic dinner that Ridge never showed up to share with her, and as she sits in quiet devastation, Thomas bursts into the guesthouse. Thomas reacts with volcanic fury, pacing the room, clenching his fists, and railing that Brooke has once again destroyed his mother's chance at happiness. Taylor begs him that this was Ridge's choice alone, her voice breaking as she tells her son she will be okay because she cannot force love where Ridge's heart doesn't truly belong. Thomas demands to know what happened, sensing instantly that something is terribly wrong. Will Spencer, who is across town dealing with his own earth-shattering revelation that Luna Nozawa is alive and lurking in Lee Finnegan's apartment, becomes unintentionally entangled in this chaos because his confrontation with Luna is so startling that he staggers out, desperate to confide in someone, only to stumble upon Thomas in the middle of one of his emotional outbursts. However, Thomas is unable to accept it, his lifelong resentment toward Brooke boiling over, and his mother's abandonment igniting a rage that is both heartbreaking and terrifying. Who has always admired the Forrester family from a safe distance finds himself paralyzed as Thomas yells about how Brooke destroys everything, how Ridge is untrustworthy, how Taylor deserves better, and how the world would be a more peaceful place without Brooke's manipulations. Will is horrified, realizing that Thomas has lost control of himself, and his words are becoming more and more unhinged by the second. Taylor tries desperately to calm him, insisting that she will survive and that Thomas must not descend into darkness once more, but Will, who is still reeling from Luna revealing her survival with that sly, unnerving smile, starts to fear he has entered a second nightmare because the expression on Thomas's face is not just heartbreak, but vengeance, despair, and obsession all rolled into one. Appalled at seeing a grown man so violently lose it over his mother's suffering, especially since Will has only recently come to terms with the fact that Luna wore a disguise to trick him into going to bed, that she is still alive when he thought she was dead, and that Lee has been concealing this whole vile truth. Now, he is staring at another insane person in the form of Thomas, whose anguish over Taylor has grown into an uncontrollable storm, while the audience at home listens in breathless tension as Taylor stands between her son and the world. Will's eyes widen in horror as he sees the potential for violence in Thomas's every move, knowing firsthand from his encounter with Luna that people pushed to extremes can make reckless, dangerous choices. But Thomas pounds his fist against the table, shouting that he will not sit idly by while Ridge humiliates her again, that he will not accept Brooke being declared Logan forever while Taylor is left with nothing. Additionally, the way that all of these storylines are layered together, Ridge and Brooke enjoying their whirlwind engagement, Taylor being privately crushed but still trying to maintain his dignity, Thomas unraveling in front of his mother and Will, an unwilling witness, and Will himself silently carrying the trauma of Luna's return from the dead, her manipulations, and her scarred but smiling threats, as well as the thought of Thomas losing his grip entirely, is what makes the moment so powerful. Which so horrifies him that he almost reveals his own secret about Luna, but he holds back because he is unsure of whom to trust. As Thomas's tirade intensifies and he swears that Brooke won't win again, Taylor clutches his arms and trembles as she begs him not to follow this dark path. Will's stomach turns because he understands what it's like to be at the mercy of someone else's unstable obsession, and he questions whether he has just witnessed Thomas cross a line he cannot uncross, the kind of line Luna herself crossed when she deceived him. When the credits roll, fans are left with a haunting image of Will recoiling in shock and horror, Thomas raging uncontrollably, and the episode's genius is that it leaves both Will and the viewers shaken, wondering not only how Ridge and Brooke's latest engagement will survive the fallout, but also how Thomas's fragile psyche will handle the loss of his dream for Taylor, and whether Will, caught between Luna's scheming and Thomas's fury, will find himself dragged deeper into chaos than he ever imagined. This moment resonates so powerfully because, once again, The Bold and the Beautiful has woven together heartbreak, horror, and shocking revelations in a way that no one saw coming, leaving both the characters and the audience on edge, desperate to know what explosive twist will come next. Taylor is calling for calm, and Ridge is blissfully sliding a ring onto Brooke's finger somewhere else, unaware of the storm he has unleashed.